Fitting a family of 4 into a 2-bedroom apartment can be challenging to say the least, which is why I'm going to show you how I turned this crowded and reclusive 2-bedroom apartment into a welcoming, multifunctional family home. This 866 square foot apartment is located right in Manhattan, New York City, along the city's East River and only a short walk from famous landmarks like the Empire State and Chrysler buildings. What first began as Yiwen and Mikkel's dream, large and spacious, 1-bedroom downtown apartment has now become a crowded and chaotic 2-bedroom apartment where a newly created partition across their once spacious living room now facilitates a 2nd bedroom for their 2 lively boys. So with this space beginning to feel the strain, it's a classic situation of a young couple outgrowing what was once considered their dream first home. In a city like Manhattan, upsizing to a larger apartment can be eye-wateringly expensive and incredibly stressful, especially with kids. So this is something I'm going to try and fix by making simple changes to the layout and furniture to show you how you can potentially avoid the cost and stress of moving and make your home or apartment feel like it's doubled in both size and functionality, while spending significantly less than what you would have on realtor fees alone. When taking stock of what we're working with here, the standout characteristic is these large sweeping corner windows, with the 2 bedrooms having views across the East River and the living room facing the neighbouring buildings and the city. Unfortunately, this has forced the living room layout to place the TV onto a small section of wall next to the entryway, along with all the associated entryway storage below it, with the remaining kitchen area being home to a 4-person dining table and sideboard, with the kitchen itself including a rather strange and depressing cutout for a wall-facing breakfast bar. Over in the 2 bedrooms, the master bedroom is equipped with a walk-in closet and a queen-size bed with 2 nightstands, along with some additional wardrobes, a TV and console, and a standing desk, which Yiwen and Mikkel can both use for their jobs in IT. Then over in the kids' room, you have the kids' wardrobes, a small bed for their eldest son, a portable crib for their youngest son, as well as a folding futon for the parents or guests, with this room functioning primarily as an activity area for their 2 boys. This leaves only around 200 square feet to work with per person, which causes all the different activities that are involved in work, play, sleeping and eating to overlap. So the challenge I have from Yiwen and Mikkel is to somehow separate and rationalize these activities without subdividing the space with yet more walls, which would only make the apartment feel smaller and darker. And on top of this, I also need to find a way to increase the home's functionality to cater to hosting guests for dinner and for simultaneous remote work by creating office spaces for the both of them. Starting off in the kitchen, as this spread of unrelated activity has caused the space to begin to feel crowded, it makes a lot of sense to fill up that awkward wall-facing breakfast bar with 2 additional kitchen cabinets to provide additional storage and stop it feeling like a tabletop, which will reduce the temptation to clutter this area with things other than kitchen items. This additional cupboard space can then be used to relocate what was once stored in the tool cabinet next to the entryway, so that this can be repurposed for shoe and coat storage by adding in an internal hanging rail and additional shelving. And in doing so, this would allow Yiwen and Mikkel to drastically reduce the visual impact of the entryway by removing any visual clutter that disturbs the calming atmosphere of a living area. Then, in place of the 4-person dining table and sideboard, by adding in a massive 8-person dining table in a kitchen area like this, it can function as both an additional kitchen prep area and a flexible activity surface that's far more versatile and comfortable to sit at than just a kitchen island, which makes this space perfect for an array of new social activities like hosting guests for dinner, kids crafts, game nights, and even remote work. Now, the problem is that with a table of this size in an apartment this small, it takes up way too much space and causes way too much clutter, with all the chairs dinging against walls and spilling into the circulation areas. So to fix this problem that I've created, you can make a massive difference by adding in a storage bench, which allows the table to not only comfortably fit in the kitchen area by allowing it to be pushed much closer to the wall, but it also provides the space with ample and convenient storage using drawers underneath the seating. And this can all be easily put together using just off-the-shelf kitchen cabinets on top of a simple timber plinth. And as a result, this swallows a ton of living room related clutter while allowing the new activity table to provide plenty of space to spread out on. And thanks to the bench's proximity to the table itself, it makes it super easy to clear things off it and into the drawers below, making it almost frictionless to keep clean and reducing the effort involved in allowing this table to serve as an alternative workspace for video calls in case Yiwen and Mikkel need to be in separate meetings simultaneously. Now, as the existing TV setup is still a little bit awkward, it actually makes a lot of sense to flip this arrangement to allow the storage bench to continue along the entirety of this wall, so that it becomes both an architectural feature and seating for their living room. By doing this and swapping out their compact love seat for a modular sofa with even more storage, this provides even more space for living room clutter to hide in it. And it provides a clear view into the kids' room, so Yiwen and Mikkel can now keep an eye on them both without having to get up off the sofa and transition into the kids' bedroom. And by simply swapping out the overly cluttered display shelving for a cupboard with doors that's actually designed for storage instead of decoration, this provides freedom for Yiwen and Mikkel to be messy on the inside, which is a real necessity for busy parents who want to be able to host guests, as they can quickly bury yet more clutter behind this cupboard's closed doors. Finally, in the bedroom, the problem is that it also needs to function as an office, as the dining table simply isn't going to cut it as a permanent work from home setup, and their current desk setup is kind of awkwardly boxed in on all sides by all the other furniture that's in the bedroom. Right now, this standing desk is located at the foot of the bed, making it awkward to sit at and get around, as it's also blocking the circulation space to the far side of the room. However, by relocating the bed to the opposite side of the room, it creates a more direct and unobstructed route from the doorway and opens up space for a whole second desk, essentially creating a two-person office that almost feels entirely separate from the rest of the room and the rest of the apartment. And by doing this, the wardrobe and TV can still be placed along the wall opposite the bed, and this even provides enough space underneath the TV for their digital piano. These changes alone completely transform the feel of the apartment by making it so much more efficient, functional and tidy. But it's all well and good saying that this works in plan, but it also needs to look good and stay on budget, which is where things can become a little bit challenging. To start off in guiding the aesthetic by choosing matching door fronts for the storage bench that match the existing kitchen cabinetry, and then by equipping this storage bench with a timber countertop of a similar shade, it ties this new joinery item together with the kitchen while distinguishing it as a piece of furniture rather than simply as a part of all the other kitchen cabinetry. And by pairing the storage bench with a similarly dark double pedestal timber table rather than one with 4 individual legs, it ties into this dark timber theme while making it easy to get in and out of the bench seating, which is essential in making this whole setup work. Then, to further save on cost and maximize the coherence of the room's aesthetic, we can continue the existing kitchen palette into the rest of the room by repainting the remaining walls in a beige Limewash paint that continues the natural warm tones of the kitchen tiles across the room to establish a rich wabi-sabi theme, whose goal is to embrace the wear and tear that comes with a heavily used space like this by using imperfect and uneven natural textured materials that create a warm and calming environment. Following this theme, by relocating the smudgy and modern full-length mirror, it no longer serves as a centerpiece to the room in reflecting the view of the neighboring apartments back down it, which only served to exaggerate this room's narrowness and its busy energy. Then, to also help with the calmness of this space, to make sure that the back of the sofa doesn't face the liveliness of a street-facing window, by adding in a full-height lightweight track curtain behind it, it filters the harsh southwest light which was making this room feel hot in the summer, and it creates a calming backdrop that shelters the sofa from the window, while also adding some acoustic treatment to this otherwise hard and reflective room, which can help to soften the sometimes harsh noises of children's toys and voices. Then finally, by adding in a more appropriately sized rug, this also helps with acoustics and visually reduces the narrowness of the space by helping to break it into separate zones. And because of the change in floor material, it helps to demarcate this living room area as a separate space for relaxation compared to the other spaces which are for work and eating. Partway through this design process, I was becoming a little bit concerned, as for the sake of the budget, I was allowing the more traditional styling and dark timber of the kitchen to play a leading role in the overall design language of the space, which is quite a departure from what I'm used to designing. But after bringing all the right design elements together in a layout that provides this much storage, I could not be happier with how this all turned out. With simply a new layout and a carefully considered material palette, this completely transforms this room from what it once was, by not only creating a calm and cohesive aesthetic, but by creating spaces for hiding clutter and clearly subdividing areas of the home into separate and distinct zones. By reconfiguring the entryway storage and creating a visual relationship with the kids' room, mess from these areas can be almost effortlessly contained, which is a theme that's continued throughout the apartment with the hidden storage underneath almost all of the seating. Just with these changes, you and Mikkel and their boys can now enjoy having guests over and cooking more by creating a completely new and efficient relationship with the kitchen, where I can easily imagine food and drinks being effortlessly served from the countertop over onto the activity table, where guests can now hang out and enjoy themselves. And over in the bedroom, a space which was once a tightly crowded area for both working and sleeping, now has a really enviable work area, with 2 desks which have incredible views out to the East River, and a newly wall-mounted TV, which has all been achieved by spending little more than the cost of the additional desk alone. And really, from my calculations, all of this could be accomplished in theory for just over $6,000, or for just over $3,500 if they just want the raw functionality without any of the nicer materials and features like the drawers underneath the bench seating. And when considering all the additional cost involved in upsizing to a larger apartment, it can make simple furniture and layout solutions like this incredibly valuable.